You built a fortress of silence, but who got trapped inside? The room is dark, except for the blue light of a phone vibrating on the table. A notification, then another. He watches the device, unmoving. His thumb hovers over the screen, but doesn't touch it. He convinces himself it's discipline, strength, control. You do the same thing, don't you? You call it detachment, dark stoicism, an armor against disappointment, against the pain of caring too much. You learned silence is a tool, sometimes a weapon, a way to show you can't be touched. But that armor, over time, fuses to your skin, and the silence that should be a shield becomes a cell. The question isn't if stoicism works. The question is what it hides. Understand this. The promise is seductive, to become unshakable, a rock against which life's waves break, leaving no mark. You read Marcus Aurelius at night and imagine yourself an emperor, calm in the face of betrayal and plague. You hear about Epictetus and think you can endure any insult, any loss, with divine serenity. Philosophy becomes an instruction manual to build your inner citadel, a safe place, impenetrable. But you're not building a citadel, you're digging a bunker. The inner citadel has windows. It lets you observe the world, feel the sun, hear the storm, yet remain safe at its core. The bunker has no windows. It isolates you from everything. From the good and the bad, from pain, yes, but also from joy, from risk, sure, but also from reward. You're not learning to handle your emotions. You're learning not to feel them. It's an anesthesia for the soul, sold as wisdom. You call yourself Stoic, but what you practice is a sophisticated form of denial, a silent mutilation. And you wonder why you feel so empty, so distant from everything and everyone. That fortress protected you so well, now you can't get out. His master, Epictetus, a cruel freedman who served Nero, decides to test his servant's philosophy. He begins twisting the slave's leg hard. The man doesn't scream, he doesn't beg. He just looks at his master and says, with unnerving calm, "You're going to break it." Epictetus keeps twisting. You hear the sound of bones snapping. The slave, now with his leg broken, looks at his torturer without hatred, without panic, and completes, "Didn't I tell you you'd break it?" That man was Epictetus. For him, silence in the face of pain wasn't repression. It was the highest expression of freedom. He understood that the external world, his body, his reputation, the actions of others, none of it belonged to him. The only thing truly his was the power to choose how to respond. The power to judge an event not as good or bad, but simply as an event. A broken leg was a fact. Pain was a sensation. Suffering, however, was a choice, and he chose not to suffer. His calm wasn't a mask. It was the core of his being, a piece forged in the fire of the most brutal reality. But there's a thin line between an inner citadel and a tomb. The paradox is this: the same tool Epictetus used to free himself, you use to imprison yourself. His detachment was about accepting reality as it is. Your detachment is about trying to control reality or isolating yourself from it. It's the message you read and don't reply to for hours. Not because you're busy, but to teach a lesson, to demonstrate power. It's the compliment you receive with a nod, while inside, a child starving for approval screams for more. It's your refusal to admit you're hurt, not out of strength, but fear of looking weak. Authentic stoicism is precision surgery. It uses the scalpel of reason to remove the tumor of irrational judgment and the expectation that causes suffering. What you practice, this dark stoicism, is a crude amputation. To avoid feeling pain in your foot, You cut off your entire leg. You silence your anger, your sadness, your anxiety, and along with them go passion, empathy, the ability to connect. You become functional, efficient, empty. The selective indifference of the Stoics was a path to virtue and right action. Your generalized indifference is a path to nothingness. You're not becoming a sage. You're becoming a specter. And what's buried alive never dies. Observe your own silence. Is it peace or is it war? When you pull away from someone, is it to find your center or to make the other person feel the weight of your absence? Be honest. You're not detaching from the outcome. You're obsessed with it. You want your silence to scream. You want your indifference to be noticed. You want your disappearance to create a vacuum in someone else's life. That's not ataraxia. That's manipulation. It's a power play disguised as philosophy. You use Marcus Aurelius's words to justify behavior that looks a lot more like a wounded narcissist's. You say you don't care what others think, but you spend hours curating an image of someone who doesn't. It's a performance, and the audience is yourself. You applaud yourself for your strength, for your resilience, while the most authentic part of you, the part that feels, that desires, that bleeds, is gagged in the basement of your psyche. You fear the pain of rejection so much that you prefer the certainty of solitude. You fear failure so much that you prefer not to truly try. You're not controlling your emotions. You're being controlled by the fear of having them. No one understood this hypocrisy better than the richest and most contradictory of the Stoics. B. Silent narrative. The man who writes about simplicity and detachment from material possessions is the creditor of half the empire. His words extol voluntary poverty, while his fortune rivals that of the emperor himself. He's Seneca, the tutor of the tyrant Nero. He writes about courage and integrity while serving a monster, a hypocrite. Maybe, or maybe something more complex. Maybe Seneca wasn't a hypocrite. Maybe he was just human, struggling to apply an impossible ideal in the real world and failing like all of us. He lived in the heart of power, corruption, and decadence. His philosophy wasn't an academic exercise. It was a survival kit. He needed Stoicism not to appear virtuous, but to keep from going mad, to avoid becoming the monster he advised. His life was the very tension between the ideal and the real. And in the end, when Nero ordered his death, he didn't hesitate. He opened his own veins with the calm of someone who'd practiced for that moment his entire life. He showed that, despite all his contradictions, the core of his belief was real. He didn't silence his true self. He used silence to find who he was meant to be amidst the chaos. But what if the goal isn't calm? What if the goal is truth, no matter how ugly? This isn't Stoicism, but it completes what they left open. Friedrich Nietzsche would look at this quest for tranquility, for this absence of pain, and he'd laugh. He wouldn't see strength. He'd see weakness, the symptom of a life in decline. For Nietzsche, life is the will to power. It's growth, overcoming, expansion, and that it hurts. Pain isn't an accident to be avoided. It's the condition for growth. The muscle that doesn't tear doesn't grow. The soul that doesn't break doesn't expand. The Nietzschean paradox is brutal. To feel the greatest joys, you need the capacity to feel the deepest sorrows. By building walls to protect yourself from pain, you inevitably isolate yourself from the possibility of ecstatic happiness. The Stoic, in his darkest version, would amputate a leg to cure a scratch. He prefers the peace of the desert to the disorder of the jungle. Nietzsche would invite you to dance on the edge of the abyss, to embrace your pain, your rage, your envy, not to drown in them, but to use them as fuel, to transmute them into art, into strength. into life. You, in your quest to be unshakable, aren't you just becoming less alive, less yourself? The mask of indifference fuses to your face. And one day, you try to take it off and discover there's no face left underneath. Mark this. This armor you wear with such pride, it doesn't protect you from the world. It protects you from yourself. It silences your rage, which could be the fuel for the change you crave. It silences your sorrow, which could connect you to humanity and spark compassion. It silences your spontaneous joy for fear of looking foolish or vulnerable. It silences your desire for fear of the pain of loss. You're not becoming a god. You're becoming a ghost. A beautifully decorated house, but empty. You pride yourself on needing no one. But the truth is, you're terrified of needing. You pride yourself on feeling nothing. But the truth is, you're terrified of feeling everything. Stoicism should be a tool to live fully, in accordance with nature, with courage and reason. In your hands, it's become an excuse to hide from life. You didn't win the game. You just stopped playing. And now, sitting on your throne of silence, inside your impenetrable fortress, you're safe and completely alone. What's left when the pain is gone, but the passion is too? What's left when the fear is gone, but the love is too? The man in the dark room finally picks up his phone. The screen illuminates an expressionless face. He doesn't unlock the device. He opens the front camera. He stares at himself. The face is calm, impassive, the face of a statue he spent years sculpting. He approaches the mirror. He searches for something in his own eyes. A flicker, a spark, anything, and he finds nothing. Only the polished void of the fortress, the perfect silence. And for the first time, he feels fear.